far we have
Recording
come
in
as a business
progress.
unit, while we still need to do a lot. So, I know it takes a lot on all of you and your families. So I personally, on behalf of the entire leadership team, want to thank you for your dedication. So with that, let me take you through the agenda. I will briefly touch upon the Q2 progress and H2 priorities. Vivek, who is our new CRO, will touch upon the go-to-market progress and the plan going forward. We have accomplished a lot in the partnership area under Josh's leadership. He is going to share his perspective with you. And what's important is that Sunny, who is our PDM at AWS, will be joining us for a fireside chat with Josh to give his perspective on the partnership, which will be very, very interesting. Sandeep is then going to touch upon solutions and delivery. We have accomplished a lot. He's going to touch upon what's the plan going forward. And again, talent, as you know, in any services-oriented industry, talent is the key. And we are taking a lot of steps to make sure that we not only hire the right talent, but also enable them to be successful. So a lot going on that Paula is going to touch upon. And then at the end of it, you can have a good plan, good team, but if we can't execute, nothing really matters. And we have come up with a very robust operating model that Monica is going to touch upon. And then with that, I'll share some thoughts with you towards the end. More importantly, we have kept a lot of time for Q&A at the end. I think it's extremely important that as we go through these transformation, that we are listening to you. We are close to all of you because you're the one on the ground executing. Get your feedback so that we can continue to do better and better. That Q&A will be addressed by the entire leadership team of Public Cloud. So again, really thank you so much for everything you've done so far. We've accomplished a lot in first half that'll tee us up for a better second half of the year, but more importantly, 2024, which is going to be the turnaround year for us. So with that, let me just again go to the next slide, please. Touch upon the Q2 2023 highlights. Years from now, when we look back on Q2 of 2023, it'll be remembered for FAIR. If you remember, under great leadership of Srini, we launched FAIR in Public Cloud Business Unit, and we have seen phenomenal results. Actually, Srini just wrapped up a workshop with a client in the UK with Mahesh, like an hour ago. We will share with you what we are doing, amazing progress. And now it's no more a public cloud phenomena. Private cloud is launched its own FAIR initiative. Really, really excited. So again, many of you have been part of this journey, and I can clearly see that as we move forward, FAIR is going to be such a door opener for us. And if we can really capitalize on what we do as ideation and subsequent phases, we can really drive significant business through FAIR. So that was a big accomplishment. I just wanted to call out and thank Srini and his team for this. Revenue-wise, we did about 432 million, operating profit of about 17. If you look at the bookings, there are some very encouraging signs, and I still worry about pipeline, and we'll talk about how we are going to address pipeline conversion and so on and so forth. But in Q2, 73% of the bookings were from services and 27% from infrastructure. That's a very encouraging sign. We are not saying that we don't want to sell infrastructure. For all the right reasons, we should sell infrastructure as long as it is a clean business, it has attached or upside of services business. But over a period of time, higher services bookings will lead to higher services revenue and thereby higher margin. So that's a very, very encouraging sign. What's also encouraging is in terms of geography, relatively small geography like APJ had a double-digit booking number, which is encouraging. EMEA did well as Americas. So good booking trend. We just need to scale this to meet our 2024 growth objectives. From revenue perspective, we grew 3% year over year. What's concerning is that our services business, which is the key to our growth, long-term growth, declined 6%. There are very, very focused initiatives to make sure that as we grow our services business as well. Bookings on a soft Q1 still grew 13%. and pipeline grew 4%. As I said, the big focus for us will be to continue to drive pipeline growth, which will, with better conversion, hopefully that will drive better growth for us. A result of better services to infrastructure booking is impact on the sold gross margin. Our sold gross margin improved 2.5%, which is very, very encouraging. So you can imagine that as we continue to double down on services, that it will impact the sold margin and operating margin as well. We want to run the business as general managers. We are just not a sales organization. We sell, we deliver, we bill, and we collect money. We saw very, very encouraging signs in churn area, about 3 million ahead of our plan, and also in accounts receivables. I know that last couple of quarters we've been doubling down on receivables because it is a big issue, and we have started to see good improvement. We still got a lot of work to do. Customer satisfaction improved significantly, which is a good sign. So as we are getting to sequential growth, quarter-over-quarter growth, getting to better bookings, if NPS continues to improve, these are all signs that we are moving in the right direction. Next slide, please. So just to remind everybody about our 6-pillar strategy for public cloud, as you know, and we've talked about it many, many times, we are going to lead with services and offerings. That's the core differentiator for us as a business. We are fully stacked 4 lines of service, which is around data, application, infrastructure, and security. These lines of services are fully functional and are doing a great job. The second, one thing unique about Rackspace is that we operate in 3 geographies and in 3 market segments. And each of these market segments need differentiated go-to-market strategy. We have, after a lot of careful thinking, we have put a very well differentiated go-to-market notion in for each of the market segments. We realigned Americas, which is the biggest market segment for us, along private equity, government business, mid-market enterprise, and so on and so forth. So that new go-to-market model is in place. The focus around private equity, commercial, mid-market enterprise, and government brings in tremendous focus in each of these segments. And we hope that this will accelerate growth in the second half of the year, but certainly in 2024 for sure. At the end of it, one of the key strategy for us is, as a company, is to go through vertical route. I come from a vertical route, and I know what value verticalization can bring to our offerings. We host government business and private equity. Over a period of time, we do intend to incubate more verticals, especially in the non-regulated industries. So we will continue to build these verticals, and I'll keep you updated on that. We have accomplished a lot on our partnership and alliances front. Our world revolves around 3 hyperscalers and a select set of product companies that align to our line of service. I think we need to continue to scale the relationship to a lot more meaningful 360-degree relationship. And for each of these hyperscalers, we have a play that Josh is going to talk about. Delivery, I think one of the biggest accomplishment for our business unit has been aggregating 9 delivery centers, distributed delivery center into 3, which is fully functional. And then finally, M&A. We don't want to do M&A for scale. We want to do M&A for product IP, because that is in line with our basic philosophy that we are a labor minus model. More revenue doesn't necessarily mean more people. So that's going to be key for us as we go forward. We are a global business unit. We have a global workforce strategy. And again, the last point I want to highlight is that we will not lose focus of driving solutions through IP, automation, products, etc., etc. So that's our strategy. Again, the strategy is appreciated by all stakeholders, industry analysts, financial analysts, clients, partners, and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. And then, as I said, we have accomplished a lot, and you'll hear some of this from different presenters later in the session. But I just want to talk about a few things that we are going to focus at the back end of 2023 that will help us finish 2023 strong, but also tee us up for a better 2024. Our biggest focus as a practice will be pipeline, conversion, and booking. That's going to lead into growth. So you will hear from us what we are trying to do, apart from different market segmentation in Americas. What else are we trying to do to get back into a predictable pipeline closure and booking rhythm? Partnership, Josh is going to talk about how do we take our partnership to the next level. We've started to see amazing results at the back of all the good stuff that the team has done. Solutions, as I said, we want to be known for solutions and offerings. Just in Q2, we launched 17 offerings, and we'll continue to do so on our own as well as with our partners. So for instance, you must have seen the Migration Factory offering with GCP, which is going to be pretty successful as well. Talent, as I said, in a services industry, it's all about talent. And Paula is going to talk about how we are going to ensure we have the right talent, we enable them, help them, achieve their career goals and objectives through career architecture. And then finally, execution. I always remind people that we are in a great market that's growing 20%. I would rather be in this market than any other market, right? We have sustained tailwind. We have a good strategy. And in spite of all the headwind in the first half of the year, we've started to see green shoots. That means the strategy is working. We have a great team. It's all about execution. If we can't execute, none of this really matters. And that's why, looking at what each one of you did in the first half of the year, I am absolutely 100% certain that we will finish 2023 strong and tee up for a good 2024. Next and last slide, I just want to briefly touch upon operating model. As I said, we have built a very empowered, high-profile team to drive predictable growth going forward, predictable, profitable growth in future as well. Devin, who just joined us to drive overall transformation, is going to initially focus on sales growth transformation, which is one of the biggest challenges for us. Vivek is going to talk about some of the other activities as far as sales and demand generation is concerned. Vivek joined us as CRO, and he and his global team are going to focus on really taking our go-to-market to the next level. Delivery under Sandeep has done a phenomenal job. The consolidation of multiple delivery organizations into 3 has helped us focus on actual delivery optimization, parameter optimization, like utilization, pyramid, span, and so on and so forth. So we'll continue to see that. And then we have launched a new function called business operations function. Look at this function as the glue that binds everything together. Make sure that we are operating as one team in a predictable way in terms of execution, strategy, etc., etc. Also want to add that we continue to invest in talent to drive growth. So as you know, we brought on board Nant to help us with growth in private equity. Alex, who joined us to run the global advisory, has already started to make pretty significant impact in using advisory as a tip of the spear. Vivek, as I already talked about. So we believe that we have a robust operating model that can help us drive growth as we move forward for the remainder of the year and in 2024. So a lot of exciting stuff going on. I'll have each of the presenters talk about what we have accomplished so far and what's the plan as we look at 2023, second half of the 2023. We will have questions at the end, so I'm now going to pass it on to Vivek, who's our Chief Revenue Officer. Vivek, over to you.
Well, thank you, DK, and great meeting all of you guys. Well, when I was told that this is an all hands meeting, and I have to present, I thought as a rookie I could actually just get away with just one slide of all hands. Okay. But honestly, really, that's not the only reason that I had this slide for. I have this here because, team, honestly, we need your help. We need all hands on deck to deliver sustainable, profitable growth. Doesn't matter whether you are from GSS, GTM, pre-sales, marketing, HR, finance, legal, all the support functions. I and we need all of you to come together as one MPC in a very tough macroeconomic environment, support each other, and more importantly, guys, get creative with our value proposition to our clients so that we can win consistently. So today, with all hands on deck, it's my privilege, given the fact that I actually wasn't here in Q2, to share and celebrate with you guys some of the notable client wins of the second quarter. So Brian, if you can move to the next slide. One thing is absolutely clear, everyone, very clear to me, crystal clear. We Rackers take pride and are immensely passionate about our clients and the outcomes that we deliver for them. Our wins in Q2 span across all regions, across all three focus segments, be it commercial, mid-market, enterprise, government, and guess what? Across infrastructure services, professional services, and managed services, be it app, data, security, AI, where we are targeting hypergrowth. For instance, we delivered many firsts across the regions. We delivered the first FinOps GainShare project at Convera, which is one of the largest fintech B2B payments firm, helping them with their cloud economics agenda. We delivered the first GCP professional services deal at Canadian National Railway. For Oxxo, the largest retailer in Mexico, we are enabling their retail 5.0 modernization strategy through a multi-cloud migration program on AWS and Azure. Our team used the advisory and consulting services, as DK mentioned, tip of the spear approach to gain the trust of the chief technology officer there and beat incumbents like Accenture, Cognizant, and DXC. I personally love beating Accenture and Cognizant. DXC, okay, I guess. For Texas DIR, the Department of Information Services, part of our RGS business, on the success of a proof of concept with OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, we productionized the OCI within their public cloud manager contract with state agency customers to help them migrate from the costly Oracle Exadata platform, something I believe we can rinse and repeat with other government contracts. On the fun side of it, guys, guess we are helping Krispy Kreme to make the most awesome donuts globally. We are engaged with them across the M365 program today. In EMEA, we won our first migration and end-to-end managed services program for one of the largest reinsurers globally, Westfield. We are building out the managed services across Azure, M365, and security. A TCV of 12.3 million that Mahesh tells me is going to double next year. No pressure, Mahesh and team. DK and the EMEA team had great executive meetings just last week with Rabobank. I'm sure all of you have heard of them. But Basware was another meeting, which is a global software automation firm. And we not only closed a new EDP commit for 8.3 million TCV over 5 years, but also opened up opportunities on security and migration services for the Azure estate. Dark continues to lead in its vision of making us the dominant partner for the erstwhile automobile industry. Porsche, Volkswagen continue to grow in services for us. BioNTech is a leading pharma firm, developed one of the first COVID vaccines in the region. And on the cancer research side, we are their partner, helping them scale their research and operations through a multi-cloud transformation journey, migration, modernization, operations, and security. So a great opportunity for us to expand the services side of the business. APJ signed the largest elastic engineering deal on AWS with Commonwealth Bank of Australia. With Data Lake professional services wins at DFS, Power BI migration services program to help Ulic Pharma increase health accessibility in the region. Another Data Lake win with a telco provider in Maldives that only Martin can pronounce the name very well, so I will avoid that. I do note that this is a great win in that we are implementing the data lake based on Azure data services, plus our own Guzzle and PBI to move their on-prem data workloads to cloud in an accelerated fashion. With all these services-based wins, APG actually plans to surpass EMEA in bookings by first quarter. There's a wager out there, guys, between Martin and Mahesh. Whoever wins or loses, Jorgen and Sandeep have promised to buy beer for all of us in Germany and Singapore, respectively. As our foundry for Gen AI, FAIR is well positioned to capture a fair share of the market for us. I will talk about some of these wins in the next quarter, given the fact that we have signed them in Q3. But just want to share with you that we have 5 wins with APJ leading the way currently and America on the heels. At Google Next, just to share with you guys, we were the only, and you will believe me not, we were the only organization that actually had a working FAIR AI diagnostic application platform there, which has garnered a lot of interest and potential investment with GCP and AWS, a joint investment. We have a qualified pipeline of 62 clients. Of course, we need to execute, we need to win and win big. I'm pretty sure, just in the interest of time, I wanted to just share and provide you an overall perspective of how we are making winning a habit going into the next quarter and of course into 2024. Brian, if we move on to the next slide. So I'll talk here a little bit about how we plan to build momentum with our laser focus on go-to-market for H2 and beyond. I think the key aspect here is, as DK talked about, we have the right team, we have the right strategy. The focus now is on execution across the power. We have established at the organization level in MCP 5 strategic priorities that the team will talk about in more greater detail, and how we are laser focused on executing against each one of them. Me and the GTM team, supported by all of you, are going to focus and measure ourselves against objective KPIs. So first of the key actions in the GTM is clearly about demand generation and building pipeline velocity across all our key segments. We have engaged an external firm that will help us elevate our pipeline right from generation through qualification and improving our conversion and win ratios. Commercial today represents one of our largest businesses today, and we are just concluding on a strategy for reigniting growth there that includes delivering on sequential growth for our M365 business. John, Dushyant, Eric, Travis, and many others actually came together and just presented our growth strategy for mid-market to Amar yesterday. And we believe that there's an opportunity to deliver 20 to 25% CAGR growth there for the next several years, starting in 2024. Today, that business represents only 10% of our overall public cloud business. No reason why we cannot double that going into next year. We are already doubling down on our initial success with PE and will continue to land and expand with our enterprise customers with focus on large deal shaping, leading with services, and delivering outcomes as enterprises and mid-market clients accelerate their digital journeys. Now, of course, all this can only be possible if we effectively rebuild, rewire, and re-energize our sales excellence and transformation agenda. The immediate focus for us is to onboard all the 25 plus sales positions globally by end of November. We are looking at micro and agile sales enablement sessions on removing all the obstacles that come in the way of having our go-to-market teams and sales leaders and sales team focus on just client conversations and closures. More conversations with clients will lead to more customer engagement, and more customer engagement will lead to more wins for us. In summary, I just want to share, we have the right strategy, we have the right team, and now we just need 3 more things, guys. Execute, execute, and execute. Against we have clearly established all the KPIs across all tracks in our operating model, and we will measure ourselves against those swim lanes. Yes, we do need more arrows in our quiver, and we need more wood behind those arrows to win. And you will all agree with me. Moving on to the last slide, Brian. Growth, sustainable, profitable growth has the tendency to solve most problems, if not all. So with that, Josh, I will turn this over to you to talk about one of the most critical aspects of our business, the partner ecosystem, and how we are accelerating our winning strategy with the hyperscalers. Josh, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Sandeep. And I do apologize for not being on camera. All I'll say is that Travis joked this morning, I should have put on the eye patch and gone full pirate mode for today's session, but I won't be on camera, and my apologies for that. But if we go to the next slide. So one of the first things I want to just comment on is the level of engagement that we've been seeing from our partners over the last quarter. I've been with Rackspace a little over 9 months, and I have to say, over the past few months, I think we've seen across each hyperscaler a degree of excitement and engagement that is really encouraging. And I'd like to talk about where we're focusing with each of them, as well as some of the early successes we're starting to see. So first, obviously, our biggest partner is Amazon, and that's a partnership we continue to invest in heavily. We're engaged in a lot of different areas with AWS today. Key focus areas for us: migrations and the MAP program, data and generative AI. I'll talk about that more in a second. App mod, Windows modernization, and OLA, and I'll talk about that in a minute, and Marketplace. So before I go on to some highlights, just with Marketplace, one of the key things here is we launched a program at the end of Q2 that incents both sellers and buyers to transact on Marketplace, and that's been a very exciting program for us. So what's been going on with AWS? Well, we launched FAIR with AWS. We did a joint press release earlier at the end of Q2, which was well received. And I think probably the most important thing that we did is we got all of our offerings for FAIR up on the AWS Marketplace. AWS views its marketplace as a key platform for promoting its partners' offerings, ISVs and service providers alike, and our engagement there has been noticed. Another really exciting program we did with AWS in Q2 that's kind of run on to Q3 is a tri-party go-to-market initiative. AWS is eager to see its partners team up to drive the growth of its cloud business. So we're running a program today with Trend Micro. It's the AWS Rackspace Trend Micro program called ART. It's primarily targeting greenfield accounts. That has been incredibly well received both in the market as well as by AWS all the way up to top leadership. And love to see us do more of that. And we also just recently launched our Windows modernization and optimization and license assessment program with AWS. This is an AWS funded and structured program that we participate in that helps customers understand where can they save money by optimizing their licensing and Windows licensing in their move to the AWS cloud. And finally, we launched a MAP refresh program. This has been a critical program, and I really want to thank Scott Schloiter and Tara Hopkins for a lot of the work they've done there. It's been Scott Branch. It's been a real heavy lift to make sure we have an end-to-end coherent process to manage our MAP programs with AWS. It's a critical program that allows our customers to migrate to the AWS cloud as cost-effectively and efficiently as possible. With Google, we have seen a huge uptick in engagement in the last quarter. A lot of that has been based on the work we've done around FAIR. So while we're focused on migrations and app modernization, generative AI is a big new go-to-market motion with Google. In fact, Google was the first hyperscaler partner that we announced FAIR with. We also built our first 2 solutions on the Google Cloud. So both Rita and ICE have been built on Google. And as Vivek mentioned, though we featured ICE at Google Next, we were the only partner there featuring a working Gen AI application built on the Google Cloud. It was really well received. There's another great announcement we did with Google just a month ago around a VM migration offering that we put together with the Google Professional Services organization. This is a structured program targeting sort of a fixed cost VM migration. We're very excited to see this one take off. We're also a pilot partner for their RAMP program. RAMP is Google's equivalent to MAP. It's a program that supports a rapid migration to the Google Cloud. And finally, I mentioned it a couple times, we had a great presence at Google Next. over 700 lead scans, over 70 plus A leads. More importantly, massive engagement from senior Google leadership. It was great to see leadership from our side there, Amar, Srini, DK, Vivek. I think we're really starting to turn the corner with this Google partnership in terms of expanding both the scope of our offerings and the level of engagement across Google. Finally, with Microsoft, we're focusing on migrations, data and Gen AI, security, healthcare, M365. And in particular, I would say with Microsoft, because of the extent of their offerings, having that holistic view that goes all the way from end user computing and M365 all the way back to data and infrastructure is critical, and I think helps uniquely position us. It's been an exciting year for us with Microsoft. We had our first 2 Gen AI wins on Azure, and thanks to this team in Singapore for the SOS and Straits Interactive programs that they brought in. And we've also just recently completed a 3-year strategic partner plan with Microsoft, so we can really start operating in a much more intentional and strategic way as we look to grow our business together. So that's some highlights of what's been happening with our partners. One thing that we've done within the partnership organization that I'm very excited about is launch a partner operations function across our entire group. And I really want to thank Salil Jain for his partnership and Sara Bhargava for his help at bringing on Vikas and Mohit to our partner ops team. This is a team that's going to help ensure we are doing deal registration, we're applying for partner funding, et cetera. All those things that help the partnerships run well and are critical for us to show up well with our partners and to manage the partners effectively. So with that, I'd love to go on to the next slide and invite Sunny in. Hey, Sunny, how are you?
Hey, Josh, how are you?
Great to see you. Sorry I'm not on video today. So for the folks on the call, Sunny Ahmed is our global alliance leader. Sunny, maybe just do a quick intro to yourself. You are a well-known figure in Rackspace.
Thank you, Josh. Pleasure working with you and this awesome executive leadership team at Rackspace. Sunny Ahmed, celebrating year 7 at AWS, covering Rackspace the entire time. And prior to AWS, I was a Racker for 3 years, was one of the original founders of Fanatical Support for AWS, and happy to be still on the partnership and watching us grow as the #1 partner at AWS.
Great. Thanks for joining us today, Sunny. And I do just want to thank you for all the great support you provide us. Always give us great guidance and help us accelerate our partnering efforts. Okay, so we have a lot going on together, and I have a bunch of questions for you. So first, as you know, Rackspace has made a major investment in generative AI with the launch of our FAIR spin-up earlier this year. How is AWS viewing the Gen AI market opportunity, and what are you expecting from your top partners here?
Absolutely. A generative AI market for us is very, very strategic in nature. We're seeing a large inflow of leads. We're seeing all kinds of use cases around Bedrock, around Code Whisper, that's kind of your coding companion. We're seeing a huge amount of wins in the world of healthcare solutions with generative AI, especially in genomics, where you can query through millions and billions of genomics kind of data at lightning speed. We're seeing kind of the developer community leverage Code Whisperer to go ahead and accelerate productivity and 1,000% or more rates than before in terms of coding. We're also seeing a lot of research organizations like the Allen Institute, for example, that's leveraging our generative AI platform to map out the human brain, for example. And we're seeing a lot in the marketing space. We're seeing companies like Canva leverage generative AI, kind of a similar solution to what we built at Rackspace with your team, with Vikram and Nirmal and team, in regards to documents, converting them to images, and then vice versa, images that are being converted into documents. So there's an IDP solution that Rackspace has built, leveraging our generative AI capabilities with FAIR, and would love to see more Rackers dive deep on that.
That's great. What else can we be doing do you think, to align to AWS? What are some, if you had to give some guidance to, whether it's our delivery team or sellers on the call, what are some key points you'd make?
Yeah, absolutely. I think multi-cloud is a huge leverage point for Rackspace. Getting in front of AWS, though, our sellers are relatively sensitive, seeing multi-cloud. So talking specifically about your AWS capabilities, showcasing the fact that you are right now, I think, top 3 for generative AI opportunities, roughly 60 plus opportunities for $3.5 million. The one thing to kind of keep in mind is we've been building this data story with Hemantha, Vikram, Nirmal, Srini for a long time, and yourself as well, Josh. I mean, I want to thank you for your executive sponsorship. And, if you take a look at our database data analytics business, it's roughly 35 billion of our $90 billion run rate. And that particular business, especially data analytics, is growing triple digit CAGR. This has been shared with Rackspace openly, but it's growing 178% year over year compared to our overall growth rate of 12% year over year, right? And I think what's really driving the data analytics growth rate as of late is the generative AI and machine learning capabilities. That is gasoline to the fire. Now, I would say if you're a Rackspace seller, an Anika seller around the world, if you have database migrations, RDS, Aurora, DynamoDB, if you have data analytics deals for Redshift, OpenSearch, EMR, I would say generative AI is actually reigniting a lot of conversations. So CTOs, chief financial officers, chief digital officers that were kind of stalling deals or not moving as fast due to macroeconomic conditions are now basically calling us, hey, I got to find out more about what this generative AI thing is. My board, my leadership is telling me to dive deep on this. And so I think it's going to reawaken a lot of deals that weren't moving as fast, or maybe some stale deals, specifically in the area of databases and data analytics. And so we should use the fact that we have FAIR to go big. And I will say that it might be a smaller percentage of the overall deal. That's the data story, but it's the needle in the haystack that's moving the whole haystack, right? I think the generative AI conversation is absolutely driving the overall data strategy conversation. And I think we're well positioned to go capture this market globally.
Great. Thanks. So that's great insights. So I want to shift gears a little bit, talk about migration. So Rackspace has been a big AWS migrations and map partner for a long time. How do you see the program changing in the future, and what can we do to align best?
Absolutely. So migration acceleration program, we launched an EDP Center of Excellence back in March 2020, and then we added the Migration Center of Excellence the year after. I think Rackspace to date all time is #1 in the history of AWS. We have over 258 map wins. MAP is the most strategic program and the most lucrative program that AWS has ever launched. In fact, Andy Jassy, CEO of Amazon, former CEO of AWS, always talks about migrations are a strategic priority for AWS, only next to operations and security of the platform, right? So it's a top 3 go-to-market goal for Andy and our S team, which is our board. And so not only is it lucrative from the standpoint of if you're leveraging MAP 1.0, MAP 2.0, AWS pays $460,000 cash to make sure that those migrations go smoothly for end customers that are mutual for both of us. Map Lite, Sandeep Bhargava and Angela Logan Bell and team Martin, they've really kind of captured Map Lite. Map Lite is a smaller kind of appetizer sample of Map. And we give out roughly $250,000 cash for Map Lite. And so I would say that if you're a racker and you're looking to really go sell professional services, look at the migration acceleration program. If I was to use a Bay Area reference as like the Bay Bridge or the Golden Gate Bridge into like the city where you can go sell additional solutions a la marketplace, a la AI, ML, generative AI, data analytics, right? And so MAP is highly strategic. And the other thing that I would say is MAP is actually being regimented. It's only being regimented to about the top 20 or 25 partners in terms of like MAP funding and the amount of funding that we give. And because you're our #1 MAP partner all the time, I think it's very important for us to kind of get back to our winning ways. We haven't done well in MAP as much the last couple of years. It would be good to kind of see us accelerate that. I think with the partner operations function that you've launched and everything that I'm seeing today, I think we're gonna have a great turnaround as far as MAP is concerned.
All right. Thanks for that. Thanks for that insight, Sunny. Yeah, I think getting our MAP train back on the tracks has been a huge priority for us. Another topic I wanted to touch on with you, a really important one. So, as you know, you were part of this earlier this year. We launched a customer and seller incentive program around AWS Marketplace. Can you talk to me a bit more about why Marketplace is so strategic to AWS and what you're looking for from your top partners?
Absolutely. So, Josh, yourself, Amr, and DK are very much aligned with my VP, my big boss, several layers above me, Ruba Borno. So, Ruba came on board roughly 20 months ago. She built the whole resale channel ecosystem at Cisco prior to this for Chuck Robbins, Cisco CEO. And so, the first big bet that she made is taking on Marketplace. So, Marketplace sat in the office of the CTO with an executive leader in engineering named Peter DeSantis. So Ruba's now taken over effectively like 5-digit number of resources for engineers, product, sales, channel, partner, BD. And essentially what AWS Marketplace was the ability to go sell our technology partners, where it be hardware partners like NetApp EMC or software partners like New Relic, SAP, VMware, the ability to go sell that. And so her making a big bet and bringing that team, who is now like my sister organization, it's also a very big deal in terms of how our executive leadership views strategy. What keeps them up at night is how can we go ahead and get the technology partner ecosystem of software and solution and hardware providers to marry up with consulting partners like a Rackspace. And that's where the magic happens. And I really want to thank this executive leadership team at Rackspace for really going big with Trend Micro. It is kind of the first marketplace tri-party initiative, AWS Greenfield, all wrapped in one. But for all the Rackers on the call that are kind of new to marketplace capability, the big call outs are, a year ago, our sales team, thousands of sellers, roughly had 6 MBOs around marketplace. That is now accelerated to 33 MBOs per seller for marketplace, and that is across the globe. At Rackspace is able to sell, I think, up to 80 different ISV listings and roughly north of 50 consulting offers on marketplace. We should be looking to take every single professional services engagement that we have and trying to position marketplace to transact that. I think we had a marketplace training earlier this summer. And then I know that yourself and DK and John Mullaputty launched this marketplace spiff. And so just realize marketplace can not only help customers that were already purchasing software go ahead and leverage that if they're going big with AWS and Rackspace and make that procurement cycle faster and make innovation cycles faster. But if you look at the AWS seller, the AWS sales account team as a second customer every account, you're going to help retire the MBOs for all those Amazonians. And so now you unlock AWS originated opportunities coming back to the Racker and the Onic seller. And that's a huge value add, right? Just realize that a majority of our sellers right now across the globe are missing their marketplace goals by a whole lot. And with our capabilities around data and AI and migrations and security assessment, all of that is now published on marketplace. Like I said, 50 plus offers. You go bring that to an AWS seller, they will absolutely bring you additional opportunities with that customer, but additional net new logos that are AWS originated opportunities. And so I think that we have something that no other reseller has. No other SI and GSI has that, because marketplace kind of had this image that it's only for ISV resell. Well, guess what? No, you can actually do professional services through marketplace, and you can do ISVs as well, right? So we're well in position to capture all of that market.
Great, thanks, Sunny. So we are just about out of time, but I want to leave you with one last questions, and I'm going to ask you to do it in 30 seconds or less. What are the top? We have a great audience on the phone right now on the call. We've got delivery leaders, sales leaders, support, ops, all of it. What are the top 3 things you think we can do better to partner with AWS? 30 seconds or less.
Absolutely. I would say it's our greenfield accounts. These are accounts that are doing $1,000 on AWS or less. So net new, kind of greenfield accounts. And how do we go ahead and attack the greenfield? It will be migration acceleration program MAP that we've talked about today, up to $460,000 partner cash, only being regimented at top partners. And it will be AWS Marketplace. And then finally, I would say the Gen AI conversation, get really good at that conversation, leveraging FAIR. But database data analytics all marries up to Gen AI, and all of this will help us go attack the greenfield. So it's map, it's marketplace, it's the database data analytics story powered by Gen AI.
Great. Love it, Sunny. Sunny, thank you for all your support. We are super excited about our AWS partnership. We think we really have some great momentum heading into the end of the year, and we'll tee up for a huge 2024. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much. And thank you to Rackspace for your awesome partnership.
Great. And now on to Sandeep, who's got some great updates for us on what we're doing in delivery.
Thank you, Josh. Can we go to the next slide? By the way, it was so good to see Sunny. I've been working with Sunny right from the first day I joined Rackspace, and he's kind of moved through the ranks. So it was so good to see him. And Josh, thanks so much for creating a template that I could actually replicate. So I know where to go when I am looking for cool templates to tell my story. So from a solutions perspective, I'll cover two things. I'll cover the solutions that we've launched, and I will cover some of the key projects and some of the key KPIs that we have, right? We have launched 17 offerings and 9 sales plays in Q2, and we've got a similarly good lineup in Q3 and Q4. I'm not going to cover everything. All of you by now have a fairly good idea about FAIR and the intelligent co-pilots for enterprise, which we are in the we are working actively towards kind of rebranding it. So I'm not going to cover that, but in Q2 in Amazon, we launched our Windows modernization program. And on Q3, we will launch database ops, both actually in Amazon and in Microsoft Azure. You see in Q3 launches, there's also this managed services for enterprise. None of us here really like this word. It's kind of stuck with us. It really represents the multi-cloud managed services that we have, which actually offers resolution times for our mid-market and enterprise customers. So we're up for a new name. If any one of you have interesting suggestions, please let me know. From a Google Cloud perspective, we've developed 6 or 8 offerings that Dushyant worked through with the team. We've also got Dan Thomas, who's actually pulling together, for lack of a better word, a kind of center of expertise, a story around Google, what we deliver, how we deliver, where we are partnering. And a similar thing is happening with Microsoft Azure, where we've got somebody working on this. Right? And then Microsoft, apart from the DevOps, we're also developing a rapid app development for low-code scenarios in Q3. In Q2, we launched Zero Trust as well as the solution assessment programs. In security, we launched XDR on Microsoft Sentinel, and in Q3, more towards Q4, we'll be launching a Cloudflare managed services. For those of you who've seen a journey with Cloudflare, Cloudflare is an excellent partner, gives us good margins. We've mostly been a resale partner. As they move into mid-market and enterprise, they really need partners who can actually provide implementation as well as managed services, which is not really required in the commercial customers. And that is something that we're going to codify. Let's move on to the next slide. So, Vivek talked about the cool deals that we signed in Q2. This is actually some of the cool projects that we delivered in Q2, right? The deals might have got signed in Q2, might have got signed in Q1, or sometimes even Q4. I'm going to pick 3. Like we've got 12. I think I got like about 20 entries that people really were very passionate about me talking, but we don't have enough time. So I'll pick up 3. So hit refresh. It's an interesting Singapore-based food and beverage automation company. It uses robotics to provide fresh salads via dispensers known as fresh pods in multiple outlets. Actually, I've used them just to see how clean they were. What I didn't realize at the time when I used them first time is that we actually use AWS Cloud Native Services to create a prototype using IoT services for order handling, inventory management, general telemetry, invoicing for its customers. And we deployed the solution for them. The second one is Eagle Eye. In fact, DK mentioned that Srini was at Eagle Eye earlier today with Mahesh, and they've had a good 2-hour IDH session on FAIR. But Eagle Eye is a UK-based technology company that provides a platform for retailers to run reward schemes. In fact, I was really interested to see when I met them a couple of months ago that they are actually have a customer in Australia and have a customer in Singapore, right in my backyard. They have been a long-term Rackspace customer, and their major customers include Asada in UK, Woolworths in Australia, FairPrice in Singapore. They approached us with a concern about the scalability of their platform. Adding new customers was proving to be very expensive, and they were reaching the limits of their current platform architecture. We worked with the Eagle Eye and Google Cloud to design a containerized platform that would scale up to meet the future demands. We designed and built clusters based on GKE Autopilot to best practice standards and designed a CI/CD platform to deploy workloads to this cluster. If you wanted to know more about this, reach out to Simon Hall. And a third one, and I picked up these stories sometimes, to tell the story of what business outcomes we are driving for our customers, right? Of course, we are here for technology. Of course, nobody does this better than us. But what does it do for our customers and their customers is what really excited me about these stories. So similarly, Rainaware is a direct selling company specializing in global distribution of high quality cookware, kitchenware, water filtration systems, and other household products. They reached out to us to optimize their processes and systems, to improve their communication, collaboration, costs. We collaborated with them so closely around that whole Office 365, M365 platform that they started referring to us as we are their team, we are the Raina team for migration and optimizations, right? Of course, that only happens when we deliver a project successfully, right? So as you can see, three different people. Interestingly, two of them are startups. They know technology really well. Rainaware is as traditional a customer as you could get, but in all of them, we delivered something that actually helped with the business outcome, right? And the slide that you see, the table that you see at the bottom is an attempt to figure out how are we doing in some of the key KPIs that track service quality, right? I've not put CSAT. You saw that in the first slide. For in platform and apps across the three professional services, we are starting to measure how many red projects there are. And there's some excellent work that has been driven by John Haidt, Eric Dude, Simon Hall, and some of the others to actually create a dashboard where we can track all the projects, and we can also have a total customer view of the top 50 customers across the various services that we deliver. And the beauty of that is that sales, delivery, pre-sales can actually go and put in their comments. And the first couple of rounds were interesting because different teams saw the success of our engagement on the customer differently. Just getting that aligned means that we are a joint up Rackspace force as we go out and tackle and help our customers, right? We track elastic engineering, how many starts are off track, and there are 5. Typically, they are when what we've sold does not match up with what the customer thought that they would buy. And then from the managed services, we track service levels. So we are at about 90%, which is in response times. ModOps, we have about 13 assumptions that are off track. And Donnie's got a really cool dashboard around our O+ customers, which is in Amazon's world is about 800, 900 million or a billion. And he has a view of every single customer, what they feel about us, when are they going to get renewed, and what are we doing. And that is a great tool for our sales teams and account teams to kind of go in and talk to those customers for more. And he keeps track. Right now it's trending 0, but Donnie and his team just basically, they are one of the most lethal teams I've seen. Every time a customer is unhappy, they will just go and be all over it. And then we have data, total number of projects in red. There is 0, though when I reviewed with Hemanta today, there was probably one customer that is trending towards red, and we are working towards it. But again, data team, I've seen them work, and I've seen how programmatic can they get, right? And from a certifications point of view, we have a certification target that Travis has put on us. AWS, we are at 48%, Microsoft at 80, Google at 100, and Fair, we are at 43. Just so that you know, our marketing and legal teams are 100%. And guys, Fair is mostly right now is the public cloud offering, and we are only 43%. So all of you on this call, there are, I think, 650, 680 of you. please make sure that you take that certification and we drive this to 100%. This is the technology of the future. And just so that I have 2 kids and I've got both of them, onto that platform. With that, I'm going to hand over to Paula. And something about Paula, when I first met Paula reminds me of a teddy bear, that I owned when I was a child. Every time I would see that teddy bear, I would just feel so calm, like the world was going to get all right. And every time I see Paula, that's how I feel. So with that, Paula, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sandeep. Appreciate that and really appreciate your partnership as well. Want to wish a happy Ganesh Chaturthi to everybody that celebrates today. Can you go to the next slide? So I want to start out with, everything is about our people. It's about Rackers and our talent. So I had the honor and privilege to visit our Gurgaon office with my leader, Kelly Till-Green, our CHRO. We had multiple Racker chats, meals together, cups of chayos. It was just such a great time to see people, meet people face to face, get to know them, understand, what's going on in our India site. We have over half of our employees in India. So again, it was such a privilege. I loved meeting everyone, but I think these are great examples of, one team exciting to be with people. You could really feel the excitement. You can go to the next slide. So here, I want to just take a minute to pause and focus and reorient us on what brings us all together as one Rackspace. So our mission, we embrace technology, empower our customers, and deliver the future. Our core values of excellence, customer-driven, expertise, agility, and compassion. These are ways that we interact with each other, that we interact with our customers, and that make us unique, that make us that fanatical Racker employee population. Our Racker value proposition. Rackers are a valued member of a winning team on an inspiring mission. I certainly felt that when I visited Gurgaon. Lots of energy, everyone very excited to be winning and on this journey together. Go to the next slide. So from a talent update perspective, so H1 accomplishments, we implemented a new global hiring process for sales executives. This helped us increase the candidate pipeline, enhance speed to hire, and ensure a fanatical candidate experience. So far, the feedback has been really positive, and we've been able to hire ahead of schedule for our second half of the year hiring targets. And this also enables our new organizational structure that we have on the go-to-market Americas side. We're implementing it at a global level, but seeing a lot of great traction, a lot of great new Rackers starting. We also implemented the sales DNA assessment for targeted development and expedited ramp time. So the goal here is to help bring in people that have that sales DNA to immediately know from these assessments where they need training, how do we onboard them quicker and get out to our customers as quickly as possible. Just from an attrition update, year-over-year voluntary attrition has decreased, and sales attrition has also decreased. So these are all moving in the right direction. From a second half focus, we are looking at customer success and inside sales rep assessments, career architecture. Now, Kelly talked about this at the all hands a few weeks ago, but this is really the cornerstone for everything talent related. And so we're really excited to be moving through this by the end of the year. This will help Rackers and leaders have those conversations, look forward to their career, whether that be upward or sideways. I sort of look at things sort of like a lattice. So all the opportunities, what it takes to get there, and really expedite people's careers. We really want to make sure that we focus on you all and help you all grow within Rackspace. And then finally, we will be focusing on India career pathing as we have half of the population there. So I'm really excited about the talent updates, excited about what we're doing, and appreciate your time. So I'm going to turn this over to Monica, who's our VP of Business Operations.
Thank you, Paula. Okay, team, so let's pull all this together. By now, you've heard about our strategy, our priorities, and our operating model. So I want to step back and remind everybody that all good success stories start with a vision. underpinned by a clear strategy, and enabled by a winning team. But that winning team, which is all of you, have to have a clear definition of success. So no matter where you are, no matter where you go, no matter what customer you're talking to, we all have to remember our critical business outcomes: bookings, revenue, profit, cash, customer and racker experience. I know you've heard it before, and I know you've seen this slide before. But for those of you that follow the World Cup or follow the Super Bowl, you'll hear every winning team say the same thing. We all knew our role, and we all knew our definition of success. We had a vision, and we were going to get out there and get it done. That's what this team's going to do. If we fast forward to the end of the year and say, did we hit it? We have to know what we were measuring. And every day I'm going to challenge you all to think about how your role contributes to each of these outcomes, because it takes this team to achieve it. So this is a model we've all seen before. This kind of pulls it all together. This is the what are we going to do? Candidly, we have some improvement areas. So when we go get those bookings, will we get the revenue? Will we get the profit we expected? And will we see the cash? Is our definition of success. And with all these things, time is not on your side. If you don't achieve it when you plan for it, you pay for it the rest of the year. So what we've done is we put together this model that says basically we got to focus on growing, improving, and protecting. Protecting is where it's all about. We all know what it takes to get that customer. It's harder to keep that customer, and we pay for it tenfold if we lose the customer. So it's all about protect, protect, protect. Improve on our existing business. This is the year where we're going to have a lot of renewals. Many of you have heard me say this before, but this is our chance to turn the wheels of our business, turning to more profitability, more value add, and more service solutions, and make sure our contracts work for what we're trying to achieve. And then support that growth, getting the new business with the existing customers, helping them achieve their goals, making sure we're their trusted advisor, no matter where they are on their journey. So each and every one of us have to know our role in achieving this. So as you can see, there's a column here that says it's all about the execution. Who's accountable to execute? The primary leader on that particular area. And then what business operations is going to do is figure out how to underpin this, pull it all together, and structure it. So we've identified a few priorities that probably shouldn't shock anyone here. If we start at the bottom and protect, churn and renewals. This is all about keeping those customers, making sure we're not seeing those downgrades, and making sure when we're at the time of renewal, there is no doubt that Rackspace will be the chosen partner. I challenge each and every one of you as a call out today that it's all about getting the right team. You've heard some of us say earlier, all hands on deck. That's what it's going to take. Getting the right people and your winning team to make sure that you mitigate that churn and win that customer. Nobody should be afraid to ask for help, because this is what we're all here to do. Make sure we keep these relationships that we work so hard to get. And then improving. Where can we improve that profitability? Does it make sense for the customer? And does it make sense for Rackspace in every decision we make? And last but not least, revenue materialization. When we work so hard to get that business, we have to make sure that we're on track to recognize the revenue as quickly as possible. All these things as our priorities, and making sure that we're working hard every day to focus on these areas, are going to start to turn our boat and get us back to that vision of being the recognized leader in this space. So with that, I'll turn it over to DK.
Thank you, Monica. I do want to keep enough time for Q&A, so let me just wrap it up with my one last slide, which you saw earlier, which is, let me put things in context too for all of you. We are not rebuilding public cloud business. We are building a public cloud business, right? And to see how far we have come in last 8 months is clearly a testament of each one of you on this call, on your team, right? Coming up with new operating model, focus on solutions, consolidating delivery, rewiring the go-to-market, demand gen. All these things are something that we are literally building ground up. To see how far we have come is really, really refreshing. We are nowhere close to taking a victory lap. All I can tell you is that as long as we improve every day, we'll get there. That's what we did in the first half of the year. What we need to do is to get a sense of urgency and accelerate those areas where we did well, and also double down on areas that we need to focus on. So clearly, I can tell you that we are in the right business, right team, right strategy, right trajectory. It's all about focus. And I am counting on you I will assure you of my personal commitment that we will go through this journey together. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but I can tell you it'll be very, very rewarding. And I have my entire leadership team on this call who will tell you the same. We are all in it together, and we'll go through this transformation together and come out a lot stronger, towards the end of the year, and certainly get back to good growth in 2024. So with that, let me open it up for questions, which are extremely important. And by the way, we have had so many questions online. So glad to see it was a very, very interactive session. We will try to address as many questions as possible here in this forum. If we miss some, we'll make sure that we address it offline. So with that, Debbie, why don't I turn it over to you for Q&A?
Thanks, DK. And if the rest of the leadership team would please bring their cameras on so that we can answer those questions, that would be great. I'm going to start with a question that came in online through the forum, and I'll just start. So Elastic Engineering is an offering our customers are latching onto, and it makes them very sticky. But the offering is segregated, so it's not allowing us to use the hours that the customer purchased across different groups. For example, Azure, AWS, 365 delivery, modern ops, etc. So is there an effort to unify this offering so that we look like one Rackspace to our customers?
If I try to answer this question, Travis will never talk to me. So let me have Travis address this question.
Awesome. Thanks, DK. So that's a great question. It's actually come up a few times in the past, and we have explored it, right? And so essentially, we think there's a lot of value in having a central pod, like a mother pod is what we called it, that would have, with branches off into data, security, other really great practices. And so we've discussed it. We love the idea. We're trying to identify the way to operationalize it at this point because we think our customers would love it as well. It creates some complexities, right? Specifically with staff projections, because now you're taking a group of resources that have a group of hours that are allocated, and you're now spanning that across multiple offerings in a shared and blended fashion. And so there's some complexity in how we can make that real and make sure we don't kill our utilization as part of that. But we do think there's absolute value, specifically in integrating the platform with security and potentially data as well.
Maybe if I may, I wanted to address it online, but I didn't have time. There's a question from Steve about, are we seeing any effect on our partnership as the different clouds are starting to poach customer from the other cloud, and some even pushing for direct relationship rather than through partners? This is a great question. The partner ecosystem, the hyperscalers are changing their strategy. So some of the hyperscalers, especially in the enterprise segment, are going head on and not letting partners sell. But that's just a small component of it. There is a bit of fighting going on between hyperscalers for sure, and primarily three: AWS, GCP, and Azure. These businesses are relatively sticky business, so it's not that you have Azure today 100% and you flip it with GCP tomorrow. But we have seen that more and more clients are having true multi-cloud within public cloud environment. So you'll see Albertson having Azure and GCP, others are having all three, and so on and so forth. I think the big advantage we have is our strength in commercial and mid-market is where we don't have these kind of situations, right? And we are very strong in that area, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. We will have some headwind from our hyperscalers as we look at some of the large enterprise clients. Again, the key is how do you, in such cases, work with the partner to get the services component of the business? We still have to go and get the services. So while consumption may go to them, they don't have capacity to provide the services side of it. And that's where what Josh and team are doing are really engaging with these hyperscalers to make sure that we are top of their mind when they look at services. GCP is a great example. Ahmad, myself, Srini, all of us had phenomenal conversation with their mid-market leaders. They're all willing to bring us in. So we still have plenty of opportunity to go and expand. But your question around this, a bit of fighting amongst hyperscaler is true. That some of the large enterprise client, these hyperscalers are planning to go directly. That is true. But it's a concern, and that may lead to a bit of churn as well. And that's why it's important for us to keep an eye on renewals for some of those large deals. But we still have enough room to go and expand business with these hyperscalers.
DK, do you mind if I just add a quick note to that?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, so everything says correct. Just one note is it will happen, especially in the larger accounts. If any of you ever find yourself in a situation where you're being asked to compete with one partner against another, just let the alliance team know. Let us help you manage the noise. Let us manage the noise with the partners. We'll find a way to message to both that keeps everyone. We can't necessarily keep everyone happy, but we can at least prevent unnecessary escalations and things like that. It is a complicated world. There's no perfect answer on these things, but the best answer is if you see something that looks a little wonky, let the alliance team know. We'll help message the right channels and the partners to at least reduce the noise.
Yeah, and one last point on this question. This is not directly but indirectly related to your question. Do not underestimate our capability or our domination as a multi-cloud company, right? Public and private cloud. Absolutely strong. We can help between the offerings we have and the strength in public and private cloud. We are one of very few at-scale global company that operates in all three segments, right? GSIs don't operate in commercial and mid-market, right? We operate in all three. So there are other ways to, manage churn when it comes to large renewals and so on and so forth. But always keep in mind, we are, and I'm not bragging this. If you talk to analysts, they'll tell you the same thing. I was at, Jürgen organized an analyst day in Frankfurt. They didn't know us as well as they do know us here. They were surprised to see how strong a player we are when it comes to overall cloud journey in three geographies in all the three market segments. That's very, very powerful. Debbie, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, DK. I see a couple of you have raised your hands. If you wouldn't mind dropping questions into the Q&A function on your Zoom, that'd be great. This other question does come from the form. It was submitted. Could you provide a brief description of our FAIR offers, for example, text-to-text, text-to-image, etc., and data governance for different public clouds, or is it just with GCP?
Yeah, I can take it. Yeah, absolutely. So first, let me say that the FAIR initiative or AI offerings cover all three hyperscalers as well as private cloud. I would say the primary offer specific to FAIR is our workshop, which includes an ideate, an incubate, and an industrialize phase. So really, we take some time with the customer to understand, what matters to you, what matters to your business, what data do you have available to you, and what can we help you deliver that will be the most impactful. Then we move to the incubate phase. That's where we make it happen. It's a very rapid 8 to 12 week process where we get it to where it's like MVP and we validate the assumptions that we believe to be true from the ideate phase. And then ultimately, if the ideate phase works out and the incubate phase works out, then we deliver an industrialized element, which means we make it mainstream, we push it to production, we make it really core to your business. Now, when we talk about what are the things that we can address with that, it really is broad. It can range from generative AI, language processing, forecasting and prediction, computer vision, anomaly and pattern detection, as well as intelligent document processing. And so it's fairly broad from platform-wide, from a solutions-wide. We've developed a library of over 500 potential use cases that customers may, find exciting or interesting. And so there's a ton of breadth in the offering, I would say, at this point.
Travis, I just wanted to add to that. Our first, I think we are on win number 7 or 8 right now. And if you look at it, our first few wins were in Microsoft. We've just won the first couple of Amazon wins. And Srini had a workshop today with Eagle Eye, which is on Google. So while we started with Google and doubled down because of the connects that we had with the execs, we were actually doing quite a bit of work with Microsoft and Amazon in the background. And that's where our first few wins have come in.
Yeah. And just to build on that, all the internal work we've also done is on Google, right? Platform itself.
On Google, yeah.
So there's enough credibility for us to talk and advise our clients and take them through this journey that Travis talked about, right? Across all of the, 3 clouds and also the private cloud.
Yeah, that's great. As part of that, we've as we go along the way, we've established strong reference architectures for each of the platforms for a project that we accomplished. So Google was the leading reference architecture. That's available. It's done. It's easy to deploy. It's really well established. We've also got one now for AWS, which we're deploying as well. So Azure will come as well.
Thanks, Travis and Mahesh. One more question. It looks like we've still got about 10 more minutes. Is there anything that Rackers can be doing more of to support the organization? For example, donating PTO or taking on additional responsibilities or accountabilities?
Debbie, I have to take this question. And this shows the true spirit of Rackspace. What an amazing question, right? I mean, I love the energy. I love how all of us, and I've seen this in about a year that I've been here, I've seen this spirit so many times. We had the Hext example, Amar sent a note and 1,000 people signed up in 24 hours to go out of the way to do this. So thank you so much. And I really appreciate the culture of, just going above and beyond to help the company. Here is what I'll suggest to all of you. All of you are working very, very hard. So the first thing I want you to do is take care of yourself. To the extent possible, have a work-life balance. I know it's easier said than done, but please do that. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? And we will have to be in this for some time to get out and start to grow. That's the idea. That's one. Professionally, I'll tell you, we are a technology company. Technology is changing every day. Amar and I were sitting last year in reInvent at the opening session. And by the time we looked at each other and looked the other way, there were like 150 new products launched by AWS, right? So the one thing I would encourage you to do is learn new technology, learn new stuff. That's going to help you stay relevant as we move forward. As we look at our clients who are truly multi-cloud clients, knowledge of, different cloud, our CTO, Srini, he is certified in everything, including plumbing and everything else that you can think of, right? If your CTO can be that technology savvy, all of us should be, right? So that's something that lasts. Take care of yourself, have a better work-life balance. It's not a sprint. And then keep educating yourself. That is key. So that's what I think we should do. And I'm sure the entire leadership team will have a point of view on this. So I'll open it up to others who want to add anything to what I said.
I would like to, DK. In addition to what DK said, I think each and every one of you are experts in something. Either you're the voice of our customer because you're so close to the customer, you know exactly where their business is headed, what they need, or you know all about Rackspace and you know where we need to improve. I want you to use your voice and make sure you're helping us know where to improve in both areas. We're counting on those of you that are closer to the customer and those of you that are closest to where our gaps are. When I raise the priority chart, we're going to be asking for help from experts to help us launch these through Tiger teams and make sure that we can improve and change the way we do business for Rackspace and for our customers. So keep an eye out and don't be afraid to raise your voice in those areas where you think we can improve.
Really like what DK said about work-life balance. I'm going to take that to heart, DK.
Yeah, and maybe I'll just add one more point here. Given you're the experts, right? Also, don't hold back in terms of escalating or raising your voice when you see an issue, right? I think that is the biggest observation I've had being here, right? Is sometimes there's a bit of a fear or, hey, how will this play out? That should be the least of your concerns, right? You're closest to your customers, you're closest to the technology, you know what is needed to be delivered from a Rackspace perspective to ensure customer satisfaction is high. Ask for help, and we're all here to help you, right? No escalation is a bad escalation.
And actually, John, I mean, it's a great point. I just want to build on that. I mean, don't think of that as escalation, right? We are here to serve. We are a very, very, very flat setup is how I'd like to look. So just reach out, everyone's here to serve, to work together so that we can support one another and succeed, right? We are here to build a great Rackspace. That's how we look at the purpose. So let's support one another.
And this may sound funny, but this is a true story. When Devon is here, so he knows this is not a story, right? Devin, Amar, and I were sitting in the office doing brainstorming. Devin was furiously writing notes on his iPad, and then he had to rush to airport to catch flight. He leaves his iPad behind. Amar and I are still continuing. Amar looks at the iPad, said, "Oh my God, he left his iPad. I must go and give it to him, otherwise he wouldn't be able to work." And he literally calls up saying, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm at Terminal 2. Amar dropped everything, took his iPad, drove to the airport, and gave it to Devin so that his work is not distracted. This is a serious story. I mean, Devin will tell you this is true.
Yeah, this is crazy. I've never had a
here-
CEO drive down and give me my iPad at the airport. It was just incredible. Yeah.
No, but jokes aside, I think we are here to help you, whichever way we can. I mean, don't expect Amar to drop his job and keep delivering iPad and iPhone. He has better jobs. But but the intent is we are here to help you. Please raise. Okay.
One thing I wanted to add, DK, as Rackers, which all of us can do, we should be proud of Rackspace and proud of our jobs, right? Long time back, I heard a quote from Warren Buffett: "Every saint has a past and every sinner has a future." So whatever happened with Rackspace over the years does not matter. It's a very different company. It's a different leadership. And we should be proud of waking up early morning, doing our work, hardworking, and not apologize for the work as long as we own our mistakes and we own our success. I think
That's
that
well
attitude can take us a long way.
Very well said. Very well said. Nam, very well said. Debbie, we have time for one more question if you have any.
Yes, actually, we have a couple more that have come into the chat. One of these is about Annika. So Annika has a strong recognition among AWS in the public marketplace. For AWS, have we decided what we're going to do with the Annika brand long term?
So I'll take an attempt. This is an age-old discussion. I think Annika has a great brand and we continue to leverage that. I had a discussion with a few AWS executives around this whole topic of the brand and how do we, continue to leverage this strong brand. We'll continue to do so, but no disagreement so far till such time we come up with another alternate. But he made a different point. He said, those days were different. What you are today is very different. You are services-led, Gen AI, you're solving clients' problem, all that stuff. He said, this may be an opportunity for you to rebrand yourself as a different company altogether, be it Annika or just Rackspace or Annika by Rackspace. So I think we'll continue to work on that. But the real opportunity for us is to rebrand ourselves as a company saying we are services and offerings led. We solve customers' business problem. We have vertical expertise. All that didn't exist before. Earlier, it was primarily infrastructure and a little bit of service. So long, windy, confusing answer, but we will evolve this as we go along. But the big picture is how does GCP look at us as one of the best service providers that can help their client go through their digital transformation journey? Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you, DK. So before we wrap up, Rackers, please take a moment to take the poll that's appearing on your screen now. And DK, do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to offer before we end the call?
I can't thank you enough, guys. This has just been phenomenal. When you just sit back and think about what we have accomplished as a team, it's just phenomenal. Nowhere close to where we should be, but everything is pointing in the right direction. We just need to focus